Don't forget to turn the video off.
Oh yeah, thanks. Wouldn't want to see me scratching my nose. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, now let's request remote control just in case. All right. So
one thing I found kind of interesting here, if you look at the model page as composed to the minor subdivision page, there's really not much difference.
yeah, that's what it looks like. Most of the plan sheet elements were drawn out here in model space as well, and then just put over in that sheet there to be able to take advantage of setting a paper size and maybe a color table or something. So there's no harm in that. It's just, I like to keep the model as being the geometry and the paper space tabs as being the actual tab.
Right.
So, the actual sheet of paper. Now, there's a couple of things that, I can see you've got like it's like, see that 213 and 645 and 228, are those perhaps point numbers?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the model tab so that we're in model space itself and see if we've got those as Carlson points or if they've maybe been exploded and they're just text. So if you click on that 205 and look at the properties, and I see that's just a piece of text. Okay, and look at number 1. Hit escape. Yeah, there you go. Same thing with 1. It's just a piece of text. All right. What about that 213?
How about the point itself?
Well, we'll come back to that, but look at that
Okay.
213. Is that also just a piece of text, or is that maybe oh, now that's got something. All right, so that looks like, see where it says all 3? And if you pull that in the properties, the very top line. Yeah, pull that down and see, yep, you got a crossing point right there. So if you go back over there and double click that 0.213, it's going to ask you, first of all, for a coordinate file. And so you can call this, oh no, I guess you've got a coordinate file already.
Well, I created a coordinate file, but there's nothing in it.
I see, yes. 24001 FLPB, it's already there, but maybe it's empty or maybe not.
Wait a minute, that's a different coordinate file than the one I created.
Oh, okay. Well,
wait a minute, where is it? Yeah, it's in file Milano.
Yeah, see way up at the tippy top of the screen, the very top line where it says Carlson Support. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
To the left of that, you see it says CRD.
Yeah, that's CRD I did create.
Okay, so that's the one you have associated with this file right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and that's 0.213 right there.
But this is in a different CRD.
Oh, good heavens. Yeah, look at that. All right, let me see something. If that's Milano, then let's see, it's still that one is the one that says.
Well, that would be in a different file. Let me go to that file and let's see if we can find it. That would be.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that coordinate file without leaving that drawing. You can just change
it. Oh, I can?
Yeah. Just go right back to your CAD session. Now under points, just pull down points and choose set coordinate file. Now go find that file.
Browse.
Yeah, I mean, that puts you in the Windows browser. If you, and that's fine. Yeah, whichever way you prefer. It's entirely up to you. So you're right now down in your Carlson folder. So if you know where you are from there, you can either use, the buttons here, like say go up a level or, navigate your way around. Or if you hit the browse button, that's going to be your more familiar Windows interface. There you go.
Yeah, see, I can't find, any CRD file.
Let's see, would it be? Look anything in that?
This is the Dewberry folder, but it must exist somewhere.
Maybe.
Can we do a search for a CRD file in the whole drawing?
Well, not in the drawing, but on the disk, yeah.
Yeah, in that job number, the 5002,
Uh-huh.
in that one.
Yeah, see right there, right here. If you want to look for a .cod. No items. So you don't have it in that folder anyway. All right, so yeah, I would think it should be in here, but I would think even at that, it should probably be in survey. But, you know, there's no. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any in there.
Yeah. Okay, well, that would have been too easy.
Yep, possibly so. Although, all right, so now you're back in your new. Um, are you sure that you've got everything from that old job folder, that you brought all of the data in from that old folder?
Well, I opened up the DWG in that folder and then I did a save as to here.
No. I mean, in this in that old jobs 50, what is it? This one?
It's
No,
the bottom of that
this.
one.
So when you got this folder, where did you get that from?
Oh, I had all these folders under
Okay.
old jobs on a disk.
Okay, so under that old jobs, under that 50023242, is that the entire folder that you had when you were doing the job? Or
As far as I know, I mean, there's no way for me to know that for sure.
yeah, because
It's the job number that's on the Dewberry plat, which is how I found it.
yeah, sure.
I got a copy of the plat. The prospective client sent me a copy of the plat, and I saw the job number. I went to the old jobs and found this, and then I opened up this folder.
Okay.
Went to CAD, went to survey, opened up
Yeah,
under
but
plats.
yeah, but that's just the DWG. That's not going to have the CRD in it. Well, here's something to consider too, though, is let's look for let's see, let's go back to this and let me see what's the name of that is Milano. All right, so Milano start CRD. So if we go back to here and search, let's go all the way up to this entire old jobs and look for Milano and see what happens. Maybe it lives in a different folder for whatever reason. Okay.
Oh,
So
there's the CRD.
yep, and let's see where. Well, it keeps jumping on me. So let's see. See, there's the raw files. There's Milano boundary CRD. See, this is all under marketing temp Garrett for whatever reason. That might be. So while that's still cooking, I'm going to jump back over to here and get the rest of that number. It's, oh no, that's, see that, and that points in an even different number. That's in
the job we just looked at.
50023242 dash minor. So that's in 010609. Okay. So January 6, 2009. See, and that's the old one there. All right. So we've got back over to here. Let's even do this so we can. All right. So there it is. And it's in this marketing temp Garrett is where it is right now.
But there are a whole bunch of them.
Yep. Done for different purposes. Possibly. I mean, you got property, boundary, boundary 2, and then you've got another boundary that's in a different location. One's in temp Garrett, marketing temp Garrett, and another one's in marketing temp Garrett Carlson projects. And it looks like they're different files. You see the size and the date.
Yeah.
So they're, even though they're named the same, they're different. Now this one looks like it could possibly be, it's the same size and same date, but it's like you had that, somebody had that one and then renamed it to, or made a copy of it and named it to that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is once we find these, we're going to copy all of these from wherever they are. We'll be able to copy them right out of this list like this. We're going to select them all. We'll right click and choose copy. And then let's go to your location. So over here,
SHEPP surveying and mapping. No, down at the bottom it was.
yeah, well, you drive me over to that, to go to your data folder. There you go. Now that's on your backup drive, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. That's the wrong one.
All right. There we go. Now, before you paste it there, I would go ahead and do a right click and choose new folder. And I would call that folder, while it's selected, while it is highlighted, just start typing CRD from old job. There you go. Click off of that down on the white space and then double click that folder after you do that. Now right click and paste. Let's say skip this file. It looks like it was doing it anyway when we did it. Maybe it got clicked twice somehow. Okay, so now we've got these 4 that we can take a look at. Okay, so let's we can close that window off for right now. There you go. And under the points menu, if you pull down points, set coordinate file, and right now you're in your
One I created.
yeah, but see over in the right where it says subfolders and it says CRD from old jobs?
Yeah.
All the way to the right. Double click that. Now let's look at that Milano 010609.
Open.
Yep. And now do a list of your points and see how many and what numbers and all that kind of stuff. go. All right, so that gives you the 500 series, and there's your descriptions. You've got elevations on them. So 500, 600s, all the way up there to your 13. So now I don't know if those numbers mean anything at all to you, you know, but they are there. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's exit that, and you can either, you know, keep note of that or just kind of keep a little sense of what is in each one. So let's do that again. So points, set coordinate file, and look at one of the other ones. And right now you can choose, you know, yep, I'd look at that. And then I'd look at the property one as well, and boundary 2, and just do a list points. And it looks like there's nothing in that file. Okay, so that was the Milano boundary. So let's set coordinate file. Let's look in boundary 2. All right, so that looks to be the same range of numbers, at least as they start. Go down and get the 1300s, and okay, looks like you got those. All right, now let's take a look next at property, and then we're going to do some comparisons here. Oh, that gives you 1 through 12. That looks like some, and 100, 200. Yeah, you got earlier points than the 5-5 series, the 5-5-2, 5-5, all of that. So
Yeah.
looks like it's got everything the old one had plus some earlier ones, perhaps. All right, so let's exit that one. And now that is the one that is currently active. So let's go to the points menu and go to the point or coordinate file utilities, which is up. All right, keep it right there. Right there. Now, what we want to do is do a and we want to compare these points. You
Compare
see,
points.
yep, there we go. That's what I was looking for. There it is. So the source of points for comparison is going to be
Current
the
coordinate file.
current coordinate file, I think. Yeah. And might as well just set, well, let's set these to that. Okay, report coordinates point missing. Report. Let's not use that. All right, let's see. We want, yeah, that's fine. All right, so now if we say, okay, is it going to ask us to select objects there? If it, go ahead and choose okay. Let me see what it's looking for. All right, now, range of points to compare will be, oh, I don't know that this is going to. Exactly what we want here. Let's see. No. So we do it. So what it's doing, it's not comparing to things chosen from the drawing. That's what I wasn't sure about. So the source of points for comparison, first of all, we've got a file that's already open. That's what it's going to use. I wish they gave you a choice to choose both, you know, the two sources. But apparently you're supposed to understand that the first, the thing you're comparing are your, whatever's your current file. So right now, we're going to use that Milano property file. That's the current coordinate file. And we're going to use another coordinate file to compare. And so now we're going to compare, let's say this one. And if we look at that, all points, report any missing points from design and survey. Let's see. All right. So we said, all right. So right now, the two files, you've got the Milano property. That's one that's active. You've got the Milano 01609. That's one we're comparing. So in this file, you see where it says missing from file 2?
Yeah,
File 2 doesn't have any of those points until you get down here to 552. All right. And now, as you can see, these are all zeros. So those points are all the same. And here's a 586 that this file has that file 2 does not have. And what I'm really interested to find, first of all, is any deltas, anything that are non-zeros, and anything that says missing from file 1, then that might be something I want to get from. Okay, so they're all zeros. Oh, there's some that says, oh no, that just shows you the number, so they're all zeros. All right, so here's a bunch missing from file 2. And it looks like they're still all zeros. And missing from file 2. Now there's missing from file 1. So this file has in it 0.1386 and then 2000 to 2024. That's not in that 010609 file. Okay. But that's okay, because right now we're going to make a master point file. It's going to get every point we have as long as there's no deltas that we have to resolve. Okay. So right now, file, let me see, file 1 is the current one. 010609 is the one we're looking at. And all right, so 010609 has these numbers right here, 1386, and then 2000 through 2024. So let me jot that down real quick here. So we need, so far, $13.86 and then 2000 to 2024 from the 010609 into whatever our new file is going to be. Okay. So that's that comparison. Let's compare the next one. And we'll just repeat that. Another coordinate file. And we'll choose boundary, which that boundary has 0 points in it, so we don't need to worry about that one. Use boundary 2. We'll keep this same thing. We'll say okay. And now, missing from file 2, let's make sure all of the deltas are 0. Missing from file 2. There's a couple of differences. All right, so right here we've got 645 has a couple of differences. Let's see. And this was from boundary 2. 645 has delta. 45, 46, 47. 647. 8 through 9. It looks like those are all going to have some shift to them all the way down through 661. Then we're back to zeros. Now, my guess, Mike, what those, if you remember when we were up there, let's see, we're 685. You see how small those deltas are?
Yeah, the big difference is in elevation.
Oh yeah, but that's because they went to zero. But I'm looking at these
Right.
XY, the northern easting deltas are pretty small.
Yeah,
And my guess is that, you know, those were maybe tweaked points or resolved boundary points for some reason that might not necessarily be exactly the field coordinate point.
right.
So, and you know, there's no real tools to help you there. You'll have to evaluate, you know, what that's supposed to be. And you know, you may be able to look at the drawing and say, oh yeah, I remember Karen had to adjust these, blah, 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 in the 600 series. So we don't know exactly for sure yet. All right, now we're starting to pick up some more deltas here, starting at 1403. And again, they're tiny. So
Yeah, very small.
and they're going to go all the way down through 1414. And then we're missing 692. $693, and then 1380 looks like the same. 1386 and 2000, probably through 2024. Yep, 2024. All right, so that's the two. One, I think there's one more left, is there? No, we're in property. We've looked at that one and that one. Okay, so we are right now in property. And so if we start with this file, and I'm going to make this one a current file in your current folder, not down in that folder we made. So I'm going to set points, set coordinate file, and we're going to call it whatever you, do you have one that you've already set?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's go back up to that. That's this one.
Yeah,
And there's no points in it right now, right?
correct.
Okay. So now it's empty, but let's take that one that we were holding as our master file. That was the property one. So we're going to, and you can do it a number of ways. You can import from a file, even though it says text and ASCII, it can actually be a coordinate file. But I'm going to go to this one, to the coordinate file utilities again, and I'm going to import or export coordinate points. And we're going to import points into the current file. Coordinate file to import points from, and that's where we go into this old one, and we get property. And we take all points in the range, all descriptions, that's the asterisk. So that should work there fine. We say, okay. Point group name. Oh, that's good. So it's given us a group. So now that file has the same points in it that property did, but you see, we've also got a point group called merge. So that's going to keep track of that. Now we're going to do another couple of merges, or at least one more merge. No, two more. And you'll see them also with that same issue, with a, excuse me, with another group. So it'll help you manage those a little better. So if we go back to our utilities, we're going to import into our current file. And now these are the ones that were missing in here, but were available in here. And this is going to be 692, 693, 1386, and 2000 through 2024. I think you can designate it like that, pretty sure. Say, okay, merge Milano boundary 2. And now if we list those points, you see we've got a group, we've got boundary 2 merge points, property merge points. So yeah, we're good to go. And we could say, oh, so we see what we've got. And now I think we're still, yeah, so we've got 1 through 12, so we're good there. All right. So now we've still got, though, these deltas. We've got 645, 46, 46, 645 through 661, and then 1403 through 1414. Those all have deltas, and you have those point numbers. Let me see here. Let's say 645 through, let's just say 1414. All right, so you've got these points in your file that came out of that original, but if we were to merge them from the boundary 2 file, they would be slightly different. Now, I don't know which ones are the actual ground or not, other than, see, and the file names don't give us any clue. One's called property and one's called boundary 2. So we don't know which one is necessarily the one that has the resolved coordinates. But again, particularly for what your purposes are, they're so, you know, the deltas are so small that you're going to be standing there on the point anyway.
Right.
So that may be okay to just limit that to this. And
yeah, I think it is, because I'm going to have to go out and do some field work anyway. This
Yeah.
is just going to save me a lot of time looking for it.
Sure. And so, and now what you can do is, and now again, this 2005 all the way up through, say, that point, or 205. See, I've got text, I've got 2 points, and I've got 3 blocks. One of which is, so this is like, this was a Carlson point, but it got exploded, although that is a group. Oh, nope, that is a point. And that is 0.205. Yes, sure enough, there it is. Okay. Now what about this? So, and that's number 1. Okay, so it looks like somebody has labeled these. You see these point numbers and the style of text they're in. They're green. They're green, right, and they look like Leroy. These over here are white and they look like the old plotter font.
Yeah.
That looks like that's still the actual point. So if I double click that, I'm going to get the point. If I double click this, it's a piece of text. Okay. But if I double click the symbol, it looks like that is the point. So somebody has pulled those out as text just to be able to label them.
Right.
So like this 645, for instance, that looks like it's going to be text, and it is. And if I double click that, that's going to be, all right, you see that right there?
Yeah.
So there's one of those deltas, and that's 0.645. So if I choose the screen position, say 645, then, and that's EOW, whatever, edge of, I don't know, words, walk, something. But anyway, when you get those little warnings, just keep those in mind. And like, let's see if this well. Yeah, the well's a point as well. So looks like you've got a whole bunch of points in here that you can look for. Now, what I would suggest doing is when you figure out which points you might want to try to find, like, I think, kicking out this well is maybe not going to be helpful, but these corners would be, right?
Right.
So you can either, go through this thing and write you down a list of the points that you want to kick out, or you can see if you plot that. Are these all numbered? Looks like they're all numbered, at least here. And if I look over here, they're probably, yeah, they're numbered over here too. So nobody really froze that off. So you could plot this and keep all those numbers and then just go to that coordinate file and look for those point numbers. Or you could, isolate the layer here, and then you could do something like this. And I'm not suggesting you do this because you've already got points there, but you could say, I'm going to go to create points from entities. And now that we've isolated all the boundary lines, and you could, select whatever symbol you might want and put it on a layer name, like maybe stakeout or field search or whatever you want to call it. And you could set this point number, say at 5001, some range that you want to do. And then when it prompts you, it's going to ask you to select these, and you're going to select all of these.
Right.
Yeah, so that's going to put a point on each of those corners, and depends if some of these are arcs, it might put the center point and all of that. Or you could just simply do a draw locate point, and you snap to the endpoint, snap to the endpoint, snap to the endpoint. You'd have to do that all the way around. But like I said, you've already got them in this file now.
Right. So
And
I could just create another page and then freeze what I don't want on that page.
exactly right. Exactly right. And I would do that by copying this one. I would just select this and right click copy.
Right.
And you would just call that one maybe field search or something,
Right.
Oops. And then I would also you see all that yellow stuff there and the green and stuff. You could leave it like that, or if you we're going to change this from that printer to the Adobe. You recall what size page that was? Is that still 8.5 by 14?
No, it couldn't be. Would have to be 18 by 24.
Yeah, 18 by 24 right there. It says okay. And 18 by 24 is there a, that's 11 by 17. Is there, here it is. 1:1. Now, right up here, there's a DCS CTB. That was the color table.
Yeah.
Now that might be in that, let's see if, well, we can't, did it pop up a box on the other screen?
No.
Okay. All right. So a DCS color table, it doesn't find, but it might be in that old jobs. And that was called DCS. Yep, there's a couple of them. It's like that one from 08, which is in old job standards, CAD, plotters, plot styles. So if we take that, copy that, and let's go to wherever ours is.
The job,
No, the color or the where the color tables are. Up, shoot, did the wrong darn thing. There we go. Users, yep, app data roaming, Carlson, okay. So I need to go to,
where are you trying to get?
back to where your new version is looking for these support files. Because we've copied that color table and let's say users, SHEPP, app data, that's what I was looking for. Roaming, Carlson, 2023. Now you see those CTBs?
Yeah,
And so now that DCS is going to live there as well. Okay, so there was also, there's the one you normally use, that RMS mono grayscale.
right.
So this DCS will be the one that will be there now. So now, I mean, it will also be there. So now if we go to this and modify this, I've got to make this stick here eventually. And now you see it's no longer says missing, so it's there. I'm going
Yeah.
to click to display those print styles. And I'll say, okay. And I'll say close. And now you can see everything that was yellow is now black, so you can see it.
Yeah, I like it that way better.
Yeah, me too. And looks like that should do you. And you could then freeze off stuff you don't need and just look for your point numbers and then look down from down there. One thing I would suggest we try as well, just to be sure. If we, let's go here a minute and we're going to isolate this layer. And we're going to select, go to our clipboard, copy with a base point of 0, 0. Okay. Now we'll put this back out the way it was. Oh, it's like you got some image files there that aren't loaded, but that's okay. And so I'm going to make a new file real quick. And we are in 2023, no, 2020,
This is actually a 2024 job.
right.
That's it.
Which
2024.
one? The estimates
14001.
right here.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're just going to call this one test. We don't need it to anything other than I just want to verify a couple of things here. State Plan 83, West Virginia North, that's all well and good. Next, and next is, oh, well, actually, I should have set my coordinate file there, but I can just do it here. So we're now going to set the coordinate file, which is going to be this one. That was their current file. And we're going to right click, clipboard, paste. And we'll paste that to 0, 0. And we'll zoom extent. So there's everything. We're going to set our LT scale to 1. And our MS LT scale is on. Okay, so that's all well and good. Now, I want to draw locate points. And we're just gonna put these, I'm gonna set this to just be the tick mark. And we're gonna put these on test. I'm gonna draw them all. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that, you know, we didn't have a rotation issue or something going on. So if I look at that, so here's that particular blue line, which is, oh, good heavens, let's see. I'm going to select all, select similar. And we're going to change their width to that, and we'll change their weight to that. And let's lighten up the color just a wee bit. Okay. And I'll even make a continuous line style so that we can verify where things are. So if I'm looking at this and I look here, I see I don't have a point here on this end of this line.
Right.
And here's a traverse station. Okay, so that can be helpful. I don't have a point here either on the end of this line. And I can go back and maybe there's something that was here on those. Let's see, what did we have at 645? We had, there's 645. So 645. So we had this, what, 213 and 228. So 213 and 228. Just list them all together. There is no 213 and 2. So there's none of those 200s that we need that are missing. So this is why I did this, to make sure we got them all, which we didn't. So let's see if they are in any of those files. We're still in our master file. Let's compare another coordinate file. And we're going to go down into our boundary 2. And I'm just going to say 200 to 300 for now. All right, so it's saying, okay, so they're not in that file either. And in fact, it's missing these that are in our file. So if we compare, let's look at this other file now. Do that same range, and it looks like the same issue. And let's compare. Was there one more? Well, that should have been the original. Yeah, so they're all deltas of 0 and they're in both files. Okay, so that tells me now that we have some points in this drawing here that do not exist in the coordinate file, namely this 213 and 228. And if you double click 213, see it comes in there. It's in the drawing, but it's not in our coordinate file, and it's not in any of those other coordinate files that we had. But if we want to get them, the easiest way to do that is to, we'll stay with the utilities, and we're going to update the coordinate file from the drawing. Okay. And we are going to say, okay. And it says select entities. If I say ALL, now, why did it find 0.1 if it's already there? Oh, because it didn't have the description. And so that one. Let's try this again. Update coordinate file from drawing. Let's look at this update. Let's don't update the descriptions. All right, so now there's that. And now let's say all. No, it's still. Yes, it's looking at its origin. Let's overwrite. Before we do that, Mike, let me do one quick thing. I'm going to set a new coordinate file here quickly, just so that we keep our other one. Then we'll create a new one. We'll now import points from here. Okay, now I want to update this file from the drawing. I'm not going to update the descriptions. I'll say okay. Now I'm going to overwrite all. Now let's compare points, drawing points. So this should all be zeros. And then these are the ones that are not in the drawing. That's fine. Okay, perfect. So everything that's in the drawing is now in this file. And we can export all of these points, and we're going to put them into a new file with that same name that we've been using, the FLPB. So we'll open that. Yes, we'll replace it. All. List our points. See if our groups, we've got just that one, that's fine. All and okay. And now we've got the 213 and all of that. Okay, so now with that one having been updated, we go back to here and let's draw locate points. We'll draw all again, and we should see those show up. There we go. Oh. So now we have, there's 213, there's a 2, whatever that is, 2025,
Yeah.
and a 364. So that should give you now everything that that drawing had, and that old, those old coordinates, the old coordinate files also had. Looks like they're in pretty good shape. You may still run into some slight deltas, which now here's a couple of shifts right here, for instance. But they're two different points. So that's probably, you know, somebody's done a resolution on that. So there's, you know, 212 was the RBS. Whereas 362 doesn't have a description on it. So, or 361 rather. Yeah.
My guess is that they set it and then they shot it in as a side shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check.
Well, you know, all kinds of explanations there. But in any case, you now have a bunch of coordinates that you can go look for. And you can do it from just this, or if you want, you know, more guidance as to what, you can see where you are in relation to these other structures and buildings and wells and such like that, other property.
I can bring in the GIS photograph too.
Yeah, absolutely. And either one of these. So I'm going to save this one for you just in case you want to use that. And that's only got the lines and the points. Okay.
Right.
And then this one is what you've been working on. All right. And there's the page if you want it, you know, like you said, you brought this, you copied this over and put this here, and you can display it there, and you can, you know, you can go to this one, double click inside that viewport, and then freeze off individual layers that you might not want to see, but keep other things on. So you know how to do all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Okay. So as sort of a whirlwind tour through the world of coordinate manipulations, and sometimes it gets weird, but I hope you followed what we were doing. Like whenever you set a coordinate file, that is your current source of truth. Okay. And then you've got to look at what's in the drawing versus what's in that source of truth.
Because what I'll probably do is go back and later and watch the recording again.
Yeah. So, but in any case, that what I'm trying to say is you can have points in various locations. They can be in a coordinate file and not exist in a drawing at all. Okay. Right. In which case you get them in there by doing a draw locate. You can have points that are drawn in a drawing, and if you do not have the same coordinate file that point originally came from or was computed into, If that is not your currently set coordinate file, then they're not going to be in that CRD file. Now, you
Right.
may have a point of the same point number in that CRD file with a completely different coordinate. So that's where you sometimes get in trouble with things. Okay. So, when you have to, excuse me, when you have to switch, that's why I made those like temporary files and then went back and forth and we looked at those and we did those comparisons. Okay, so that's they're all still there. You still have all those individual sources, but right now this particular one, let's see, this says coordinate CRD temp, which is the one we've been using, but I created that new one. So let's we'll set this back to this one, which now it has been, we've already done the export. So back when we were in this drawing.
Right.
And so 2401 FLPB, that should be the same one here, FLPB. All right. And those are all saved. So, and that's all you got to do. And sometimes you have things in a drawing that you don't have a Carlson point in there. So there's nothing to update from the drawing other than you have to create the point. And you do that
Right.
by, again, just draw locate, or under Kogo, you can say create points from entities, and that will do it, wholesale. So you don't have to snap to everything. And it goes exactly to endpoints and midpoints and centers and stuff like that. Okay. And now there's a couple of others. Don't know that they are in survey. Let me see a minute. You would think it would be, but I don't see it unless it's under Kogo. Let's see. Let's see, interpolate. No, but yeah, under civil, there's a 3D data menu, and there's a set of tools that allow you to convert spot elevations. And what it will do is it'll go through and it will read things like, points from other software, like Civil 3D or Map Info, things like that. Or it can also look at drawn text and symbols and can find, go to basically it's doing a draw locate by snapping to the inserts of all of those things it's looking for, but it's just a means of picking some things up. Now, finally, one other tool that we didn't talk about that you need to sort of keep in mind when you're working with these files, particularly when you're working with Civil 3D files. You may have a file that came out of Civil 3D and it will have coordinate points in it that are part of that file. And you can get those if you go to this file menu and import Civil 3D and then points. And so it's going to look at your DWG file and say, aha, you've now told me this was a Civil 3D file. So I'm going to look for those things that it's called points. Now that's also available under this coordinate file utilities, or even here under point utilities, where you can see if I can find it. Maybe not. Maybe it's convert. Yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. Convert point format. So if you convert Civil for Civil 3, oh, they pulled Civil 3D out of here. No, convert land desktop or Civil 3D points into Carlson points. So they, again, would have to have been, drawn and stored in the DWG file, which is where they typically are. And so it would read all of that data and then put those into Carlson point form and in the in the current CRD file. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And same thing with Softask, CNG, Simplicity, etc. Yeah, a lot of those other ones they're just getting too old to really be all that relevant anymore. But still, those are some of the tools that you have at your beck and call.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Or if there
No, I
is?
think that's it for today.
Yep. Okay. Well, if you think of anything, just pop a email or text and we'll take it the next we'll take the next mystery on whenever we need to. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Hey, listen, if I don't talk to you before, you and your lovely have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you. You too.
I shall. All righty. Take care.
You too. Bye. Thanks again.